Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and let's do a complete beginner's guide to Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, shall we? So, this guide is going to be for people who have potentially never played not only this game, but Link to the Past, Breath of the Wild, or any Zelda games. We're going to come into this game and we're going to explain everything about it, the controls, the UI, some tips and tricks for how to understand the game's logic and the puzzles and things like this. And we're going to do so in a way that's completely non-spoilery. I'm not going to show you where to find every little item. I'm not going to show you the fastest way to get through the game. And I'm not going to tell you what to do. But instead, I'm going to just explain how to play by showing you. We're going to start a brand new game as we've done right here, and you can play along with me or just watch and see if this is a game you might want to consider trying or learn new things as you play along. Now, what I'm going to do is I have played this game a good bit, and I have also played and completed Tears of the Kingdom, but pretty much I've played just about every Zelda there is, starting with Nintendo. So I know a lot about Zelda, and I love this game. There are some things that are unusual about what the game might be asking you to do in certain situations, and I want to just demystify that so that you can really just enjoy this game at your own pace. So I've made a brand new account so that I can create a new save file. And by the way, if you're playing on Nintendo Switch and you ever want to make a new file for certain games, you just have to make a new account on your Switch, pick a name for it, a picture for it, and then boot up the game, and you will start with your own save file. And then you can switch between your files by just changing your accounts. So that's what I've done to allow me to play a new game. And I'm going to step down here and follow Princess Zelda. Something is going on underneath Hyrule Castle in the caverns, and we're exploring. You can see Zelda is up in front of me, and I'm walking, as the game says on the bottom center of the heads-up display, using the left stick. Now, I can use the right stick to move the camera around, and I can push the plus button to open the controls. Now, these controls are great because it immediately just tells you what all the buttons are doing. But also, you can go to the options menu and you can change some things here. Now, I always invert my y-axis, for example. You can do that or not. But I also like to turn off motion controls. I do not like aiming with them myself. So I make sure to disable this so that I'm using just the directionals to aim instead of like tilting the controller around, because I don't find that to be intuitive.
People have been falling ill after coming into contact with the gloom drifting through these caverns. Though here it seems almost misty and not concentrated enough to harm us. We'll keep going, with it coming up from beneath Hyrule Castle. We do not know what waits below, so we need to be ready for anything. But I know I'll be okay with you, Link. Let's go solve this mystery.
All right, Princess Zelda, let's go solve it. All right, so we're Link, she's Zelda, and you look in the upper left corner, you see all the hearts that I have? That's how much health I have. So if those hearts disappear, then Link dies, and game's over, and I gotta load my save. Now, Link is fully powered up right now, and we're just kind of exploring beneath the castle. Now, at this point, you can't really fight or run or do much. It's just a kind of a prologue. We're exploring, we're mastering just the basic controls and learning some of the story that's going to govern our experience here in Hyrule yet again. Now, whenever you go up to somebody and you get close enough, you notice how above Princess Zelda's head, there's like a little arrow bouncing on her. That means you have her selected, and then it brings up a contextual menu, and it shows you the buttons on the face pad of your gamepad, like A, B, X, Y, which one of those you can push and what they will do. And if I push A, hey, I could talk to this person. Now, she's not voice acted for the entire game. I never imagined this was all deep beneath Hyrule Castle. All right. When I was a child, I asked my father if there was anything below the castle. Now, you can also, I just pushed Y to push the log, and this will show you if there was any continued dialogue you can read back through to see if, like, you had gone through a few pages of dialogue, so you can just read everything. So if you accidentally proceeded with the dialogue or you just weren't paying attention, you can go back and get everything that you need to. He told me there was, though seeing it for ourselves, or even discussing the matter, was forbidden. So now if I push log, you can see that the first panel of her dialogue is on top, and then the current panel is at the bottom. Push B to cancel that. No one in our family knew anything more than that. Alright, mysterious. Now usually I'll just talk to her really fast. I can recall what my father said, even now. No one must ever venture beneath the castle. Not even one of us. He said this warning had been passed down through my family for as long as anyone could remember. We need to continue to explore this underground area, forbidden or not. The source of the gloom is down here somewhere. So, usually you can just keep talking to people in this game to get information from them, and then once they start repeating, or they might just have some kind of concluding remark, then you know, oh, okay, I've exhausted the conversation options with this character, time to go somewhere else. But it's very, very helpful in Zelda games, especially these more recent ones, to talk to people as many times as you can, because a lot of Zelda is about figuring things out. They want you to understand and use the tools available to solve the puzzles that the game is presenting, and some of that is figuring out where to go. So you need to piece that together oftentimes by talking to people and getting hints and dialogue clues. So I like to talk to people a bunch. I'm determined to discover the connection between this place and the emergence of the gloom. Now, that being said, you don't have to talk to everybody and exhaust every single dialogue option that they have. Some of it's just extra story and lore for people who really like the world and want more information. Usually the game does a pretty reasonable job of telling you where to go, but sometimes there are quests where it's kind of like, hey, go explore this region, and they just take the rails off entirely, and these dialogue clues can really help save you some time. Let's keep going. All right, so now she's like, let's keep going. Hint, hint, let's go. So I'll walk ahead and see what's going on. Uh-oh, she said something. Link. The Master Sword. Uh-oh, it's glowing. It must be sensing something. I knew we had reason for concern. Ever since the end of the calamity, the castle has fallen into neglect. But I never could have imagined anything like these tunnels we're hiding here. We must be careful as we move deeper. Indeed. Alright, so now we can swing our sword. You see at the bottom of the HUD, or the heads-up display, it's telling me I can push Y to pull out my sword, and then I can push it again to swing it. Now, Link can charge up his swing if you hold Y, and then do a spinning attack, and you'll see that, like, I have these stamina rings that appear in green, and if I charge this up, you see how it pulses? It's getting stronger and stronger, and then I can't hold it anymore because, oof, I run out of stamina. So this wheel that's appearing, the green wheel with the larger concentric green wheels around it, this is Link's stamina. Now, as we start at the beginning of the game, Link is, like I said, look at his hearts. He has full hearts. He has full stamina. He is, like, maximally powered. So we have a lot of stamina. Holding the sword up like this and charging it takes his energy, takes his stamina. You'll notice how we charge it, and then the wheel turns kind of this glowing orange pinkish color to indicate that our sword is powered up, and if we let go, we'll spin around. Now, if I go once, I do once, but if I let it pulse more, it takes more stamina, but it's going to be a more powerful attack. Now, you see that after I use that attack, my stamina is depleted, and then the ring starts to fill back up. by moving counterclockwise. So it depletes going clockwise and then it fills back up going counterclockwise. You need stamina for just about everything in this game. Running, swimming, gliding. It's just a resource that it cannot be understated how important it is. And even like this, for charging up your sword attack, it's necessary. Now, notice though that if I just swing my sword by pushing Y, and occasionally if I push Y a few times, he'll do a combo attack and he'll do a different animation. That doesn't take stamina. So I can do this all day long. But if I want to do my famous 360 Link spin move, it does take some stamina. Now, I have my sword just out. Oh, I'm hanging on the wall. How about that? I'm going to push B to drop down. So, Link, has something caught your attention? She doesn't want me to go back this way. So if you try to go away from her, she's going to be like, hey, we got to go the other way. Whatever it is, we can plan to look at it on our way back out. Let's continue our descent. Fair enough. All right, so let's just catch up with her. We'll talk about climbing on the walls in a moment. That was more of an accident, but that's what Link just does. If you bump into a wall, he's going to just try to climb on it like Spider-Man. So look at Link right here. He's attached to the wall. Now, while I am stationary, my stamina is not draining. But if I move up, you'll notice that my stamina depletes. And unlike when I was on the ground and I let go of my sword attack, you see that my stamina does not recharge while I'm hanging on the wall. So I can't regain stamina by, I'm not resting in this position. This is hard, so I don't get to recharge. I can keep climbing higher, but notice it just drains my stamina. So stamina is very important if you want to climb, for example, very, very high up in the air. Now, at this point, I'm climbing up, and then Link's not going to be able to do much better than, oh my goodness, that. Once it gets to being parallel to the ground, he just kind of falls off there. He doesn't have a good grip. All right, so that explains climbing and stamina, and we'll look at it more closely when it actually matters in a moment. And let's talk to Zelda. These are ruins from an ancient civilization. Wait, something is written here. Might these ruins be from the Zonai? Well, we'll find out. So even if you've never played a Zelda game before, the lore will be explained to you. If you have played, you're familiar, or maybe you have some memories of the Zonai. It doesn't matter either way. This game can be enjoyed by anyone, even if this is your first Zelda. These carvings. I'm sure they're Zonai in origin. I've seen designs like this in my studies. The Zonai are said to have lived long ago in the time of earliest legend. And you can see Princess Zelda is using her camera to take pictures, and her camera, well, it looks exactly like a Nintendo Switch. How about that? They possessed godlike powers and had a prosperous civilization in the sky. Many history books tell us about the Zonai, but none gives us the full picture. Much is still unknown about them. Interesting. Okay. So we've got to figure out who these Zonai are, presumably, if they have anything to do with these tunnels and this mist. Might this be a Zonai standing here? She's taking the picture. Is this what the Zonai look like? They seem so different than us, and such large ears. How did the ruins from a civilization in the sky end up here, beneath the castle? It looks like the path ahead goes even deeper. Let's continue, Link. All right, Zelda, let's go. You've got the torch. I need you. I'm going to take out my sword, though, just in case. I'm just going to walk with it. It glows. Provides a little ambient light. We'll use it. Walk down. All right. Looks like some more statues of potential Zonai figures. And uh-oh, it's some bats. So you'll notice that the white arrow goes above these little bats because they can be targets. And we can just swing our sword to get them. If you hit them, you'll see that big explosion, and they turn kind of into purple dust as they expire.
Hurt. Are you, Link?
We're fine. Thank you for asking.
Look at these murals. The written histories of the royal family include stories of a great war fought long ago. It was a conflict between allied tribes and someone only ever referred to as the Demon King.
That doesn't sound good.
Is it possible? Do these murals depict the same legend? This is similar to the statues we saw earlier, a Zonai. And these figures look like Hylians.
That they do.
This depiction certainly suggests that the Zonai descended from the heavens. It is said that my ancestors, the first of Hyrule's royal family, were born from a union with gods who had descended from the heavens. These murals tell a similar story, and if they are accurate, then the gods mentioned were the Zonai. They must have forged a relationship with the Hylians of that time, working together to establish the Kingdom of Hyrule. This figure, he seems to be stealing something of incredible power from the young kingdom. This all aligns with what I've read during my studies. And then this, it shows the Demon King. And a fierce battle against him. If the creature depicted here really does represent the Demon King, then... Incredible! This mural must be the Great War recorded in the royal histories. This is the imprisoning war, and the events that led up to it. Link! This is a huge discovery!
She's pumped.
All right then, now to use this invention of Pura's. I'm glad I didn't leave it behind. It's so easy to record. You point it and click. Oh. It looks like the rest of the murals are obscured.
I need my bombs. Break up those rocks for you.
Just what is this place? Maybe we'll find more answers further ahead. Link, let's keep moving deeper.
I mean, Princess Zelda's pretty amazing. You know, scholar, archaeologist, explorer, brave, princess. Got a lot going for her. Alright, what's through here? Now, the smoke is looking a little bit more dangerous, Princess Zelda. You sure? I'll go first. I'm okay. But the sinister factor is escalating. I'm just going to trot ahead. By the way, as you're moving, you can gradually advance the analog stick to kind of strut like this, or push it forward to run. Now, I don't want to... Zelda's not moving that fast, so I don't want to leave her in the dust. I need that torchlight. Let's get the sword out. This is going really, really deep beneath the castle. The music's getting way more intense. Oh my. What is this place? Let's continue, Link. But we must be extremely careful. Okay. Let's continue.
What is that?
Alright, got the little teardrop gem. Interesting. Oh, you hate to see that. It's much worse. Ah! My hit points! The Master Sword has just broken.
Was that the sword that seals the darkness? The blade that shatters so easily against my power cannot save you from me. Zelda. You who carries that fragile sword. A link. Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
This guy doesn't look friendly. We may have a problem here. He just wants our amazing castle to be a little airborne. I get it. Oh no. Get her. Oh, it's the creepy hand. Oh. No? She had some magic. Oh my gosh. It's another hand. For a second, you think, did zombie guy grab me? No, it's a disembodied green glowing robot hand. Okay. There's Hyrule, watching as pieces of the castle and other realms fall from the sky. Not a great day. Something has happened to my hand.
Finally, you wake.
Hello?
I've heard a great deal about you from Zelda. Your wounds were severe. I am relieved to see you escape death.
Me too?
Your arm, however, was beyond saving. I had to replace it, lest the injury endanger you further.
Wow. Cyborg arm. Oh, there's the Master Sword. I got my bathing suit on. So now, as you could see, we are in a different state where we don't have those cool clothes. We barely have any clothes. We don't have all those hearts. We have 3. And when you typically start a Zelda game, you start with 3 hearts. So many games do this, where they start you off really powerful and then something happens. Super Metroid, Castlevania, Symphony of the Night. There are games where you start out at the peak of your powers, then you lose them all, and you got to get them back. And it's a great convention to allow progression in a game for a legendary hero such as Link. So we're going to examine the sword here. There it is. The Decayed Master Sword. The sword that seals the darkness. Its sacred power has been diminished after being ravaged by the gloom beneath Hyrule Castle. Sad. Well, it's better than nothing. So we have a 1 damage sword. So they're explaining again that we can attack with Y. This game does a great job of explaining the basic controls. It's just when we get a little bit further that it's intentional, but the game becomes murky, and you can be wandering around for a long time, and I hope to help you with that. All right, so if I push X, I jump, and if I push right on the directional pad and hold it, you see I can change which weapon I'm using. Now, I only have one, and in the bottom right of the weapon, it tells you how much damage it does, what its power is, and it's 1, so it's very basic, and there we go, slash, slash, slash. Now in this room, again, I'm moving the camera around with the right stick, running with the left stick. I need to get out. There's really only one way out. It's through these vines, so we got to chop them up. And they break open, and we can get through to the next chamber. And oh, all right, you see these giant cogs over here, mechanisms of a large machine or something, and I'm looking around. Okay, and then there's this portal here. So let's just kind of walk up to this and see what it's all about. I'm going to push A to examine it. It's got a big hand. I got a hand. Let's see. Yep, my magic hand has powers. And we have activated a blue glowy thing on the floor. All right. Oh, and we turned this on, apparently. Okay, so those big wheels, gears, are moving. The door has opened. That seems promising. And I turn around and, is this anything? Not yet, but the game has saved. And you could see, looks like some of the gears and have fallen off from a bygone age. And if I look around, you could see that there are roots and a kind of dirt ceiling, so perhaps I'm in a cavern or underground or something. Let's move up these steps right through this door that's just opened up. And, all right. Now, this is a jumping point, and it's telling us to jump. And if you jump here, you can see there's water below. Link will do this, like, awesome high dive. Now, normally you just push X to jump, but in this situation, you push A to jump because it's a contextual jump. So I push A, and I, do my perfect form dive. And now I'm swimming. Now check it out. You see when I start to swim, I get that green stamina bar that we talked about before. And this little stamina wheel, by the way, I call it bar, even though it's a wheel. That's me just being strange. I just always call things bars, gauges in games. Anyway, it's a green wheel. And just like when we were climbing, it has deteriorated just a little bit as I've been swimming, and you see it's being expended more, and it's draining clockwise, and while I'm treading water, I do not replenish my stamina. So if this goes all the way down while Link is swimming, he will go under the water, and you will kind of like wake up on the shore having taken some damage. It's not a good way to be. It's one of the more difficult things about swimming in this game, so you can't just dive in the water and try to swim across a giant river unless you've got a lot of stamina or you have some kind of plan. So I'm going to swim up here, and we had plenty, and then once Link gets onto land and he's not doing anything that's too physically taxing, he will replenish that stamina. And when you're not using stamina and the bar is, or the wheel is full, I should say, it's gone. It just disappears from the screen. So a lot of the design in Zelda is to make the heads-up display or the user interface very minimal, not that invasive, and it will only emerge if you ask it to, if it's the right situation, or if something triggers it. All right, so I'm going to kind of go up here, and we need to climb up this wall, and you see that I can just walk right into it. You don't even need to jump. You can jump. You can push B at any time to let go. Now, it is telling me you can hold B to run. Now, you see how Link is running like this? That depletes your stamina extensively. And you see how if I completely go out of stamina, if I'm on land, Link doesn't die or drown or anything, but he has to take a second to catch his breath, which can be brutal if you're being pursued by enemies. So you have to manage that. You have to, let go of running before you completely run out of stamina, or you will have a moment of vulnerability where he's trying to catch his breath. Now you can run and you can jump up here and you can hold on to the wall. Now while you're on the wall, you can push X to jump up really high, and you cover distance much more quickly than if you're climbing, but it takes more stamina. So I generally don't like to jump unless I know that I have plenty of stamina to make the climb. I'm going to walk through this cave and we get to another jumping point. So we just push A, we're used to this. And we dive in the water, and this is just kind of like a little tutorial teaching us the controls, getting us familiar with the game. Now, you can search around in this space, see if there's any treasures or anything that you've missed, and then jump again. And this is a big jump, and you'll notice landing in water, even from a great height, will prevent you from taking fall damage. Link is so good at diving, you can fall from miles in the air and hit water, and you're okay. Hit the land, not so much. So you'll see, I step up, and look, there's a little treasure chest over here. Let's walk over to this and interact with it. Push A. Open it up. Oh my gosh, I got some pants. Archaic leg wear. Simple, classic leg wear. They're well worn and showing their age, but they've still got a few good years left in them. It can be a bit cumbersome to have to tie the straps. It looks cumbersome. Okay, so it's telling you immediately this gives you 1 protection. That little armor symbol with the number 1 means this gives you 1 armor. And it's also telling you you can push A to just progress through this little window and go back to the game, or you can immediately push the plus button to go to the inventory and equip this right away. So this goes to our inventory, and we go to the armor screen. You can use the R1 and L1, or the right and left bumper on the controller, to move between these tabs. Now, all I have right now are the system controls. Before, when we were in the tutorial and we pushed the plus, we only had system controls. Now we have some functionality, but you can see running along the top of this ribbon in our kind of pause menu, there's many categorical tabs that we have yet to unlock. But we do have 1 weapon that we can see, and we have 1 piece of armor. Now, this armor in the bottom right, you can see that it will progress our armor from 0 to 1. So it shows the kind of change that will happen if you equip this piece, and we just push A to select it, and then it opens up this further contextual window where you have a choice to equip or cancel. We push equip, and we're wearing pants. Now, when I say pants, I mean more like a kind of Greek or, kiltish laced sandal look. It's better than our bathing suit, but not by a lot. So here we go. We've got the archaic leg wear, and we push B to close this up, and we push A to close this window, and it's telling us again, hey, you can push start to open the inventory, or I call the plus button start a lot, by the way. What I'm used to on Nintendo, but on the Switch, it's plus and minus. Anyway, now we have a little bit more protection. We've got some pants. We got some shoes. We're feeling great. So I've got my broken master sword, and I've got some sandals. Not much left in this room. Hey, look at that, daylight. Let's go out here. Oop, bird flying away. Lots of birds flying away. What do we see here? Oh my goodness. So, look around. So much of this game is the spectacle, is the just absolute wonder of being up in the clouds, of being able to traverse such a rich and detailed world. Down below is Hyrule, and you can see that there are all these floating bits of land through the air, places that, we can only wait to explore. We have no means of getting there right now, but we're above the clouds, and it's asking us to jump. So if I move the camera and look down, it's saying, hey, want to jump down? And I got to tell you what, if it was me, I don't know how excited I'd be about this prospect, but because I'm Link, let's do it. Push A. And we're doing the dive, but now we're just free falling through the air. Now, at this point, you cannot control Link. Let's go into a cutscene. Look at that dragon. It's just saying, check this out. You're falling from the sky. Look at this world you get to explore. There's some building over there. And here's the opening title. So now we know we've kind of at least progressed past that very brief opening introduction. And now we can accelerate by holding the right trigger and, right bumper and do a dive. Sorry, it'll say Z if they want you to hold the trigger. That's the right bumper to do a diving motion. And we made it. You'll notice, yep, I fell really far, but I fell into water. If you don't do the accelerate, if you don't push the right bumper to accelerate when you're falling, you still do not take damage, even though it's like going to look like some massive like belly smacker. You're okay. But if you are like, I'm tired of just drifting slowly, let's dive really quickly. Sometimes you'll want to go fast. Other times you want to have more control and drift around and go slow and not accelerate. It's up to you. I'm on a cool lily pad, and let's look around. So remember, we don't have infinite stamina. I'm looking for the fastest route to get to the shore, and this staircase over here looks pretty good. So I'm just going to run and jump, and I'm going to swim. Now you can push X to dash and do a fast swim, but just like when you're climbing, that expends a lot of stamina, so you have to manage that. Great Sky Island is the location that we're on. So very much what you've got to do in this game is be mindful of your capabilities as Link. Like, how much stamina do I have? How high can I climb? How far can I swim? How long can I run? And these things will improve as you go through in the game, get more progress, better items, gear, stats, things like that. But you need to get the feel for it by experimenting. All right, let's go down these steps and just kind of check out this beautifully tranquil Great Sky Island. Birds are chirping. And you see how right here under this tree, there are these mushrooms, and you see they're kind of like glimmering. When you are about to interact with an item and you've never interacted with it before, you've never picked it up, you don't know what it is, these 3 question marks will appear before it, and you can just push A to take these, and it'll tell you what it is. It's a sky shroom. And it's a common mushroom that grows near trees on sky islands. Eat it to restore health. And the amount of health that we restore by eating one of these is displayed under the name. It's 1/4 of a heart. So it will restore, if we've been injured, 1/4 of 1 heart container, basically. So there we go. Now, you'll notice in the upper left, we have our hearts. We have 3 of them. And we have the directional pad being shown, up, down, left, and right. Now, right, we already talked about. It was letting us cycle through our weapons, but we only have the Master Sword. But if I push up, I can cycle through my food. And you have to hold down the up button when you're on the directional pad, and then you can use the right analog stick to move through. I've got no food selected right now, so this apple just is the generic food thing. I got nothing selected. You can sort these, if you have a bunch, in different ways. And you can just push B to close this up, or just let go of up to close it. And then if you push right to select the sky shroom, you can actually just drop it on the ground or use it in another way. But interestingly, we're not eating it from this screen. I'm going to actually move over here, and I'm just going to let go. If I want to eat this, I push start, and now I have a materials tab. And next to our weapons, it's got the apple icon, and I push A on the sky shroom, and from this menu, I can eat this raw right here. So if I want to eat this like this, I can do it. Now, if I want to hold it, you see, like, now Link is holding it. And in the right panel, it shows Link, and he's, like, very surprised. He's holding this mushroom. He cannot believe it. And it says he's holding one out of 5 possible things that he can hold. And this is basically how you cook in this game. You can hold ingredients and drop them into a pot to cook them up, right? Or combine them in this way. Right now, we're not doing that. I'm just showing you what it looks like to hold it. Now, you can, if you push return to game at this point, he's like holding this mushroom. But this is not, again, how you would go about eating it. This is how you hold it. And now if I want to drop it, the little circle with the arrow that's in front of Link is showing you where you'll drop it. Now, you can push the down button on the directional pad to throw it further away, or push it again to move it closer to yourself. And if I push drop, he'll just kind of put it on the ground, and you can go pick it back up. I don't want to do that. I'm just showing you how to do that. Now, here is something with question marks and an upward green arrow. What does that mean? I'm going to take it. This is a tree branch. This is a weapon, and it actually does 2 damage. So this actually does more damage than my busted Master Sword. Wooden branches such as this are pretty common, but it's surprisingly well balanced. It doesn't do much damage, but can serve as a weapon in a pinch. So, I can push A to close this up, and it's telling us what we've talked about. If you hold right on the directional pad, you can cycle through your weapons with the right analog stick. So if I do that right now, if I hold right, I can move over using right on the analog stick to the tree branch. You'll notice it has that 2 in the bottom right corner, meaning it does more damage than my Master Sword. And if I select it, all I have to do at this point is just let go of right, and that's how you select it. You don't need to like push A on it or anything like that. You just need to be on the weapon that you want, and then you can push B, or you can just let go like that. And now Link has a stick on his back. And if I push Y, he pulls out the stick. And if I swing, I'm using the stick with leaves on it as my sword. How about that? All right, and let's go ahead and pick up these shrooms here. Fantastic. Now, for me personally, I pick up everything that I can. I love to have stuff with Link, food, items. There's an extra stick over here. Items that you can interact with. Look at the sun moving overhead, by the way. You see the shadows moving. It's amazing. I can pick up things that are glinting on the ground. Usually they'll make it very clear what you can interact with. And you'll notice that where it says tree branch, it's not question marks anymore because I know what this is. And then there's a blue or grayish arrow that's pointing to the right. That means this is the same damage as what I've got. But now I can have a backup. And if I hold the right analog stick, or I'm sorry, the right on the directional pad and move the analog stick to the right, I can let go and select this tree branch. Now, why would you want more than one? Well, in this game, much like in the previous Zelda, weapons, items that you use have durability, which means like this stick, I can use it to fight, but it will start to wear down as I use it, and it eventually will break. So I'm going to need to replace it. So I like to have lots and lots of weapons. Here's another tree branch up here, so that if my weapon breaks and I'm fighting, I've got a backup. You're going to want to have lots of backups. Now, just as a slight point, if you played Breath of the Wild, this game does a much better job of providing you with multiple weapons so you don't have to worry about your durability in the same way, at least in my experience, that you did in the first game. So they kind of ease that a bit, but it's still something that you need to think about. Now I'm just going to walk around and look around and see if there's anything else that I want to pick up. I could climb up here, and yes, indeed, there's a sky shroom. And another sky shroom. Here's some. And what you'll notice is that the mushrooms appear to grow at the foot of trees. So if you want them, look at the trees. Now, this island that I'm on looks like it has an edge. And you can see kind of a frosty area over here with some waterfalls and a freezing river. That looks really cool, but I don't seem to be able to get there right now unless I want to just jump off the side. So I'm going to stick where I am and just kind of climb around, looking at everything that I can. Now watch this. You see where my stamina is. If I jump, I get up to the top and I have plenty of stamina. But if this was much taller, I would not want to do that. Now, I'm falling right there. I'm not taking damage, but if you fall from a greater height, you will take damage. And it's just something you feel out. How far can Link fall before he takes damage? Here's another tree branch. And you'll start to get that calculus so you'll know, well, if I fall from here, I will take damage, or nope, I'm safe from this distance, things like that. Okay, and I'm walking, and I found a little green thing. And what's this? Examine. Oh my. This is a green stone robot? Maybe? The steward construct. Link, I have waited for you. Princess Zelda left something for you in my care. Now, you'll notice how Princess Zelda and Link are in red. Generally, in this game, if there is important text of characters or places, they will color code that for you so you can, like, it really stands out and you remember it and know that that's important. Oh, look at that. It's the Purapad. Well, thanks, Princess Zelda. This is the Purapad. I am told it is an invaluable tool that will provide you with direction. Awesome. We got a Nintendo Switch. I'm so happy to have this. Hey, it turned on. Oh yeah, the Purapad, Princess Zelda's prized device. It has a variety of features that are essential for adventure. Alright, so we can open the Purapad with the minus button, or select. I received it from Princess Zelda. I have now passed it on to you. My records indicate that Princess Zelda is waiting at the location marked on its map. My message has been delivered. So now we can access the map, which is vital. Where am I? We stand in the Garden of Time. The Temple of Time is visible from here. Okay, so that's what that is. That's the Temple of Time. It was used in the distant past. Many rites and ceremonies of the kingdom were held there. But no more. Now it is a lonely place. No one visits. It's another one of those magic portal things that I can interact with my hand. Let's do it. And now you see it runs across the top of the screen. Main objective, find Princess Zelda. If I push select, pull out that Purapad, bam, we got the map. So now we have a map. We can zoom in, as it says, with the pushing up and down on the right analog stick. We can move it around with the left analog stick. We can put a pin like right here, if we want to say, oh, there's a good place to cook right here, or, oh, I just want to mark this for later with something I can remember it by, or there was a treasure here I couldn't unlock, or there's some tough enemies here, or I found a valuable here, or whatever it is. You can pin the map, and you'll notice this arrow represents Link. The direction that he is facing is the point of the arrow, and you can see his field of vision is the kind of cone that's radiating outward from his direction. Now, I can move around with the right and left bumper to the adventure log, and that's what we just saw, which is the main quest, and it gives you information about what the quest you're doing is and where you need to go, and it's showing us on the map. We need to get to the Temple of Time, potentially, and we need to find Princess Zelda. And then we can go to the album, which this stores all the pictures that we can take. And this has actually got all the pictures that Princess Zelda took before she disappeared. So I'm going to push B to close this up. All right, and let's interact with this. All right. So I made a pretty sweet bridge across there, and I do want to go... I haven't checked everything out yet. You notice how there is like a construct over here. But this guy is not a nice one. So when the music changes and the enemy has that red eye, that's how you kind of know that they're hostile. And Link can run around freely away from the enemy that's targeted, or you can hold the left trigger, or ZL, and you'll see how the arrow above it changes to a red bouncing down, and this means that I am locked onto this target, and now I can't run away from it. I will always be facing it, but it allows you to circle around it using the stick. You can go left, you can right, you can move forward and backward. Now what we need to do is push Y to get out our stick and see if we can fight this guy. So I can hit it, and you'll see it has a health bar that has appeared, and that tells you how much life it has. But unfortunately, our tree branch is badly damaged. Luckily, we picked up more. So you see how it said our tree branch is badly damaged. And that indicates to you that, yes, our weapons do have limited use. Lots of the items that we use for combat have durability issues, and so we have to pay attention to that. Now, something like a tree branch is much more likely to break than something more sturdy, but that's the world we're in. We only have tree branches. That's why I picked up a bunch. So when your weapon breaks, all you do is you just push right on the directional pad, you move over using that right analog stick, and then you let go of right on the directional pad, and you equip the other stick. You push Y, and bam. Just keep hitting this guy. This guy is not that hard. I didn't even have to do any kind of combat maneuvers, rolls, or anything. I just hit him with my stick and walked away when he was going to swing. I'm going to take all of the items that he drops. You see how they have question marks? We don't know what they are. So we pick them up, and it explains it's a Zonai charge, a material used as a power source for constructs and other devices. Its strange light seems to reveal potent energy inside. So this doesn't mean anything to us now, but soon we'll see how important Zonai charges are for us. We also got a soldier construct horn, and it's a blade-like horn from a soldier construct. It's very sharp, so handle with care. Now this looks like a cool weapon, but it's just the horn of the robot, and we can't use this right now as is. We have to wait until we get a little bit more functionality. I'm going to pick up a tree branch. We have to wait until we get more functionality before we can use those items that we picked up, but soon enough. Now notice how we got the tree branch. That was actually the item that construct was wielding as its weapon, and generally, when you kill enemies, they will drop whatever equipment they have, like if they have a shield or if they have a weapon, and then you can take it. Now look at this tree. It's got apples. So what are these? Well, it's an apple. The apple restores half of a heart container, and it's better at restoring health, as you can see, than the sky shroom that we found. Now, these apples are hanging from the branch, and luckily, you see how Link's looking up at it. I can pick it up from down on the ground, but this one is too high, so you just walk into the tree, and you'll climb up, and he'll hold on, and you can just push A if you're close enough to grab onto the apple. It looks like there's no trees or apples left on the tree, so I'll push B to drop down. I'll take another tree branch, and let's check out this room that guy was guarding. And indeed, look at this. Well, it's a wooden stick. It's a tree branch with an added grip and excellent balance. Equip it and use it as a weapon. So we can throw the weapon that we're holding as well. And let's talk about that. But first of all, the cool thing is we've got this wooden stick that does double the damage as our tree branch. Now, you notice how this tree branch right here, it's begun to take damage. That's why it's blinking red like that. It means it's about to break. So you could just visibly see what's going on. Now, you can, if you don't want it to break while you're using it in the middle of a fight, you can just switch to another one that's stronger, or sometimes you stick on this and just let it break so it gets out of your inventory, because there are a limited amount of weapons that you can carry. You can't just have 500 of these things. At some point, which we'll run into very soon, Link will be like, I can't carry anymore, and you'll have to drop stuff. Now, I'm going to show you, using this broken one, what they're talking about with throwing. So, by the way, also when you pull out using Y, something that's close to breaking, you notice that indicator. It says your tree branch is badly damaged. The game will tell you that it's about to break. Now, if I hold the right bumper, R1, then what happens is this aiming screen shows up, and you see Link is like pulling this stick back. He's like, I'm going to throw it. And you can aim around, and let's just say I want to throw it at this tree. So you kind of aim your reticule at it, and then you let go of the bumper to throw it. It broke our stick, which is sad, but it was going to break anyway, and that's a great way to damage things at range if you need to. Now, I'm going to go ahead and equip our new weapon. Sometimes what you want to do is save your best weapons for situations where you need it desperately, where it's like a boss or something like that. But just know that you can switch, and when you're in this screen to switch your weapons, the game is paused. So you can be like, oh, you know what, this enemy's easy, let me just use my stick. I like to have something out just in case I get surprised that's strong and I'm ready to go. And we can look around in this little room here, and there's nothing else that appears to be left. So it's indeed time for us to go across the bridge. I can pick up another tree branch if I want, just to have a whole bunch left over. I'm going to run. Running is great, but as I said, it sadly drains poor Link's stamina so significantly. So just run a little bit. I like to just hold B and run, and then before the stamina wheel expires, I let go so it can recharge quickly. Here's a bunch of apples. You're going to want apples. Any kind of food that will restore your health, it's so important to get this. And I'll just move over on this tree to get the other apple, drop down. And there's some stuff in here. Look at this. This pot, I could pick it up if I wanted, or I'm going to switch to a tree branch that I don't care about. I can hit it, and I can just break this. And hey, there's an apple inside. Zelda is famous for situations where Link will break clay pots and try to find stuff that's inside. Now, notice how this construct, who's friendly, he's not an enemy one, hid and reacted to my aggression against the pottery. Let's talk to this guy. Hello, you seem to be new here. Indeed I am. Be wary of soldier constructs as you travel this way. I just found one. The soldier construct is what we just fought. Soldier constructs? They're those of us given strict orders to protect the land. The Zonai who created us directed them to eliminate trespassers. Okay, so we're learning that these skylands, this high technology, these kind of constructs, these are indeed products of the Zonai and their civilization potentially, and we don't see any Zonai, but we see these remnants. They're still working, and they're amazing marvels of ingenuity, but apparently the constructs were told to protect, and any ones who not, maybe like a Zonai or a construct, they're going to hit, so Link is in bad shape there. They will consider you a trespasser. Indeed, you must treat them as a serious threat. I did. I took its stick. Allow me to offer unsolicited advice. It is crucial to maintain proper distance and target your opponents. Swinging haphazardly will not yield results. So this is explaining the lock-on, which we just did in combat. It's using the left trigger, or ZL. You may practice targeting on me if you want. Oh, but please do not actually attack. So what's cool is he'll let us practice targeting. By the way, here's a wooden stick. Pick it up. It's just a good weapon. Now, the Zonai is going to roll out... the Zonai construct, rather, is going to roll out there so that we can practice. And while he's out there, let's just go ahead and see if there's anything left in these pots. Now, our tree branch broke, but goodness me, we got some more stuff. More apples. And by the way, when there's a limited amount of weapons and armor that you can carry. In fact, if I go to the weapon tab on my inventory, you see how right now I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can currently hold 8, 9 weapons. You have these 2 empty spaces, and then after that, it's filled. So you'll notice that in the weapon screen, the amount of boxes that you have actually indicates how many you can hold. So for food, I've got a lot. I can hold a ton of food. Don't worry about how much food you have. Pick up all the food you find. And for armor, I also have a page of this as well. But weapons are a little bit different because they want you to feel the burn of the durability. They don't want you to just have a million weapons. It's more realistic, I guess, if that matters in a game that appears to be this way. But anyway, just a heads up, pick up all the food you can. Don't worry about that. Now, with this guy, he's going to let us practice. So anything that you can target, so you know the white bouncing arrow with the name above its head, you can push ZL to practice your targeting. You have to stay close, though. If you move too far away, you're going to lose the target. And what's cool is you can talk to it, tread carefully around any soldier constructs you see. Our creators gave them strict orders to protect the land. Got it. They will consider you a trespasser in need of illumination. Be careful around them. I will. So, you can practice targeting. It's a little hard to actually practice targeting on that guy because you disengage too quickly. I can pull out my weapon. Maybe that will help me stick on him more. Not really. But anyway, it's better in a fight. Alright, so let's see what's over here. This is like an old broken down machine or something, so we can search it. And we found a Zonai charge. Tremendous. So you always want to be exploring with Link. You always want to be searching, seeing what you can find. Here's an extra tree branch. Remember, these aren't strong, but we'll take it. And it's another place to jump off, so let's jump. And we dive in. Oh, look at that, frog guy. So, even when you're swimming, you can pick stuff up. And this is a hot-footed frog, a quick frog that can be found hopping around near water. Cook it with monster parts to draw out its speed boost effect. So now they're talking about combining ingredients for cooking. We're not going into that just yet, but I'm telling you, pick up everything you can. It unlocks new recipes. It helps you understand more about creating buffs for yourself. Very important. Okay, so we fell off into the water, and we can see some different places that we want to go. And up here is a soldier construct. He's coming right at us. So let's fight this guy. I'm going to get out my stick. And now, something... Our better weapon annihilated that guy. And so let's get his horn, his charge, and he has another wooden stick. We'll take it. We know that we want wooden sticks over tree branches. Pick up the sky shroom. And let me try to pick this up. And it says, now we filled up. You can't carry any more melee weapons. So that's good. So at this point, I'm happy with the weapons that I have. But if I were to find something stronger than a tree branch, you know, another stick or something, I would just drop one of my tree branches and pick it up. But these right now aren't anything great. Just looking around, seeing if there's any food. Well, there's the edge. Now, if it doesn't say jump, you don't want to jump down. And at least in this stage of the game, like right now, you don't want to just fall off the edge. You also don't want to climb down, as they're inviting us to do, because Link will just attempt to, like, scale down this sheer cliff face, and we don't have enough stamina to really make very much progress doing that, so let's just stay on the land for now. Now, you'll notice that I could go this way. I could fall down and, you know, climb down this incline and go that way, so that's a possibility. But before I progress, I like to explore. By the way, it really doesn't matter if you want to rush ahead and try to go faster. You're fine up here. You're not going to miss anything too crucial, but I always like to explore because sometimes the game will reward you and give you just some nice little bonuses. So, like, for example, like what's in this room? Look at this, a flower. That's not a flower. What is that? I'm going to pick up a Zonai charge from this ruined construct, and another one from this one. So we got 2 free Zonai charges there. And what's going on here? What is this? Hey! Yahaha, you found me. Huh? You're not Hetstu. But you see me. I didn't know someone like you could see children of the forest. Well, if you see Hestu, please return this to him. And he gives us a Korok seed. This small seed was given to you by a Korok. These are Korok. It has a distinct smell. If you gather a bunch of them, you never know what may happen. So, generally what these babies do, you collect these by finding these little guys. So this is another incentive to explore. And they love playing like hide and seek and disguising themselves and just being tricky, sneaky little guys. So if you see something that's off, investigate it. And it might be one of these dudes hiding and they can give you one of those seeds. Oh, and my friends are hiding in lots of different places too. So you should keep an eye out while you wander. And what's really cool about it is these seeds you can exchange for things. Now, usually, as in Breath of the Wild, you can exchange them to increase your capacity for carrying stuff and other nice surprises. So you definitely want to get them. And that's another reason why it's worth exploring. All right, so we see these are like ruined houses, perhaps, former Zonai dwellings. And I want to break these. Now, instead of hitting them with your stick, you can just pick them up. And then you can just throw it with the right bumper and see what's inside. There's an arrow in that one, for example. And I'll break that. And so, pick it up. It's an arrow. And we identify it when we pick it up. And so now, every future arrow that's on the ground, we will know what it is. I'll drop that easily. You don't even have to throw it. You can just pick it up and then push A to drop it again. And it's so fragile that it will break. Alright. Sky Shroom, search this for a Zonai charge. Kind of move over here. Apple. Oh, I set it down. How about that? There you go. Okay. Alright, great. So I'm just poking around, seeing what there is. Sky Shroom at the base of a tree, as we've observed. And what are these? What's this? Spicy peppers. Cook with it to create dishes that will raise your body temperature and help you withstand the cold. So, you'll notice on the bottom right of the screen, I haven't talked about this part of the UI yet, there are some gauges and there's a mini-map. Now, on the mini-map, just like on the map, you can see the direction Link is facing, you can see his field of vision, and the quest marker is that yellow pulsing set of, like a dot with the concentric circle around it. That is where we should go, so we just kind of want to orient in that way. You'll also see a temperature gauge, which is telling you how hot or cold Link is. And if you get into those extremes on the left or the right of either being too cold or too hot, respectively, then Link will suffer. And it's not good. There are different effects for being too hot and too cold, and based on the severity. But if you eat the right food or have the right clothing equipped, you can mitigate temperature. Now, right now, we're dressed for warm weather because, we don't have very much clothes on. But if it was going to get really cold, like that snowy area that we saw, that's going to be tough if we don't have a shirt on. All right. Now, by the way, the gauge beneath the temperature in the lower left, the little indicator that's like the kind of purple line that looks like a heart rate monitor almost, that is a sound wave that is telling you how much sound that you're making by moving around. So like right now, look at that. I'm making so much noise as I move around. But if you move around real sneaky, by pushing L3, the left analog stick, by pushing it in, it says crouching increases your stealth. Notice now how when I'm moving, look at that sound bar. I'm not making very much noise at all. This allows you to sneak up on enemies or sneak past them if you don't want to fight them. Now I'm just kind of moving around and I'm gathering and I'm collecting all kinds of good food and I'm thrilled. And let's go over here. Okay, sure. Running around, being careful not to deplete my stamina bar entirely. There's another construct. Oh, and there's a cook pot. Okay, so Sorry, I pushed in the right stick. Some games want you to push in the right analog stick to target, so I will do that. If you push in the right analog stick, by the way, you open up your camera with the Purapad, and you could take pictures. But what's awesome about this is, like, if you see something like that tree that you want to get to, aim at it, and then push A to place a pin, and then notice how, like, this giant beam that's all, has runes and looks awesome, appears on that, and then it's marked on the minimap. Look in the lower right of the screen. In the minimap, you will see that basically there is this giant red dot, which is saying, hey, go there. Now, if you want to get that pin out of there, you can just, hey, get out of there. Oh, you can't do it from that, maybe. You have to go to the map itself. So I'll push select, and I'm going to move, or minus, and move over here, and then just select the pin, and then say delete. And then I'll select the pin and say delete. So I removed it. But it's a great way to place pins. So if you see something where you're like, ooh, I want to explore over there, or like, what's that? You can use the Purapad camera to mark locations. Now here's a guy. I want to use ZL to target him, and I'm just going to bap him. Now, you notice how by hitting him consecutively, Link will do like a larger attack. You can kind of stagger some enemies, and sometimes you'll knock him down. Other times he'll just do that full combo where he does like a sweeping motion, and you do a little bit of extra damage there. And we were able to kill that guy just by mashing Y, hitting him 4 consecutive times, and he's down. Now that's a wooden stick, but we can't pick it up because we want it. So I'm going to hold right, and I'm going to move over here. And on this tree branch, you'll notice that it tells you what every button does when you're in this screen. I'm just going to push X to drop that on the ground, and then I'm going to pick up the wooden stick instead. So I'm going to upgrade, and here's some more spicy peppers. And here is a cook pot. So the cook pot, okay, well, that's funny. If you get too close to the fire and you're carrying a wooden weapon like we are, it will catch on fire. So what you want to do is immediately switch over to your tree branch. And then if I go back to the wooden stick I was using, it's not on fire anymore. But if you let it burn too long, it will just burn out. It's good if you want a torch, bad if you want that as a weapon. So what you want to do is push... you can just go over here and you can say no weapon. Or you can pull out the Master Sword, which you don't care about burning. Or you can just select the weapon and keep it on your back. Now, in this cook pot, we don't know how to use this yet. But if, okay, I were to push plus, go to my inventory here, and let's just say I take some sky shrooms and I push hold. So I push X on it and I say, now in this screen, I say add A. I'm going to hold 5 of these mushrooms, as many as I can, and I'm going to push B to return to the game. And then now that I'm next to this pot, you'll see that the contextual menu opens up, and I can push A to drop all these in there. And you'll get the fun cooking music. Bam! And we cooked something. We cooked a mushroom skewer. So 5 mushrooms gives us this dish, which refills 2.5 hearts. So remember how 1 mushroom is only 1/4 of a heart, but by cooking it, you can restore much more health. Now that I've cooked it, it says to check a meal's ingredients, select it from your inventory. Then select recipe. So if I go to my inventory, now, next to the cooking tab, if I push right bumper, I have a food tab, and it's like, hey, mushroom skewer, and you can select it to eat what I've cooked. But so like this is like materials, this screen right here, and it's food, but it's also other crafting items. But this screen with the cook pot, this isn't strictly the recipes screen, but I'll show you how to get to the recipes. This is cooked food page. And if you then push X on this, you can actually check the recipe for mushroom skewer. It looks like this. It tells you how much it restores, and it tells you what the ingredients are at the bottom of the panel. And what you do for cooking a lot of the time is you just experiment. And the items will tell you, like this says, cook it to create a special dish, or cook with this to create a special dish. So if I cook this with monster parts, I can make a special dish. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to hold an apple, and then I'm going to hold a mushroom. And now I've got an apple and a mushroom, and I'm going to push B to return to the game, and I'm going to cook it. And now we make a fruit and mushroom mix. So again, this restores 1.5 hearts. If I just eat an apple, it's half a heart. And if I just eat a mushroom, it's 1/4 of a heart. But cook them together, and you get a much better meal for yourself. So one of the keys to surviving in this game is to cook a lot of food, so that when you're getting hurt, you can pause the game, and in the middle of the fight, you can eat. It's not realistic. It's just how this works in this game. It's like drinking a potion is how I think of it. And you can just go ahead and eat a meal to restore your health. If you want to eat these things, you can, but it's not as efficient. So when you have time and you find a fireplace like this that's constantly burning, you don't have to do anything, it's got a cook pot, you're good to go. Now, if you find a fire with no cook pot like this, you cannot cook in the same way on it. You have to have this pot to be able to like dump the ingredients in. Now, let's go back into this, and I'm going to hold an apple, and I'm also going to add in a spicy pepper, and I'll add in a mushroom. All 3 of these. What does this give me? We're going to go back to the game. We're going to cook. We got spicy simmered fruit. So sometimes when you add like mushrooms, it might not actually reflect in the dish, or if you add an apple and it doesn't do anything. The main thing is you want to add something that can bring out a benefit. So by using the pepper, we get this really good food. It restores 2.5 hearts, by the way, for only 3 ingredients, and it gives us 3 minutes and 30 seconds of cold resistance. So even if it's cold, if I eat this for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, it doesn't affect me in the same way. Now, I want to tell you that if you try to add multiple ingredients that add benefit, like heat resistance and cold resistance, usually the game does not agree with that, and you will only get one effect or sometimes even no effects. So don't go overboard with trying to add too many different ingredients. I like to just do the minimum first just to get the recipe, and then once I have the recipe, you can augment it by adding more of an ingredient. We'll talk more about cooking. The game will explain it as well with its in-game tutorials, but I just wanted to show you because we found a cook pot, and it's super helpful to just restore your life if you're, having trouble with the constructs or any enemies around. So now, we've cooked a few dishes. We fought a couple of constructs. We're getting better weapons. We set our weapon on fire. This is the pond there. You could, try to swim and fish if you wanted. And if you don't know where to go, remember, point toward where the minimap tells you. It's in the bottom right of the screen. It's that big circle. I think I said bottom left earlier, and what I was trying to explain was that there are temperature gauges to the left of the minimap, and I just misspoke. I apologize about that. There is nothing on the bottom left of your screen right now. Minimap's in the bottom right. Your health and your weapons and contextual facepad buttons are in the upper left. Now, I'm going to keep going over here because I want to just move Link toward that dot. So the dot is up in the north. You'll see in the minimap there's an N with an arrow meaning north, and I just need to point where Link is facing toward the dot and move him closer to it, walk to it. And you see they want me to go this way. And there's a big set of stairs. And yep, this looks like an important place, and it's the Temple of Time. Well, I probably should go here, right? And hey, look at this. It's a friendly construct. And he's by a fire, and he's, maybe cooking some mushrooms. What's up with this guy? Hello, were you lured by the delicious smells? I assume so. Ingredients are especially fragrant when roasted by a fire. They may also be tastier and more nutritious. I would not know. Right, because he's a robot and he doesn't eat. You're roasting them? Oh, you are unfamiliar to me. My apologies. Among my tasks is to explain things that first-time visitors might require knowledge of. You may have questions about this place. Please rest assured that the construct can answer them. I recall that your question was about roasting food. I roast ingredients by placing them beside the fire. I do not eat, but I am given to understand that it improves the taste. It really does. Our creators roasted ingredients in order to enhance their nutritional value. Do you have ingredients? I invite you to use this fire to roast them. So he's helping us, and there's ingredients all around him that we can use, like these apples. If we climb the tree, drop down. There's also mushrooms all over the place over here. So we're getting these ingredients, and that's great. And he's kind of like sweeping and cleaning, and we can take this mushroom. And you'll notice that right here, this is a mushroom. Why do I not know what this is? This is a toasty sky shroom, a simply grilled sky shroom. Okay, so for example, if I want to use some food right here, I can, instead of holding right on the directional pad, I can hold up, and I can like get an apple out and just drop one right here. And is it close enough? Maybe not. Let's get a little bit closer to the fire. I don't want to go in the fire. You will burn yourself. I'm going to drop it here and see if it roasts. Okay. What about if I drop this sky shroom? I will drop it. Now, that sky shroom, you can see it's smoking, so that means it is indeed toasty. We'll pick it up. The apple is not smoking, so we got to get it closer. So let's see if we can get it in there. I'm going to get really close, and I'm going to try to drop it. And then there it goes. It's smoking. And now we got a baked apple. Notice how this kind of cooking is not as good as the cooking that we did before. It's simple. It works, but you can't combine ingredients, and they don't give you as much health as if you actually cook them in a cook pot. It's still better than eating it without cooking it, but only slightly. So just pay attention to that. And I don't want to waste all my food here. I'd rather save it for a cook pot, but it's great to just practice that. Notice how close you have to get the item to the fire. But if you get too close to the fire, then, Link will be like, it's unbearable heat. Now, I don't actually catch on fire with Link because I don't have a wooden weapon out. But look at the temperature gauge. It goes into that unbearable heat stage. And if I stay in that too long, eventually he takes damage and I'm on fire. So I took a heart and a half. So you have like a little bit of a window. It's like unbearable heat, get out. So, just move out of the way. But if you stay there, you will get hurt. And I'm hurt, so it's time to eat something. So I'll just go to the food panel, and I will eat this guy, and I will eat this guy. And good enough. I'm at, well, you know what I can do to top myself off if I want? Just eat one of these, and it's exactly enough. Hey, we're full health again. Awesome. All right, everybody. Well, what we need to do now is to swim over here and go up these steps to the Temple of Time, or at least try to, and that's our next objective, following the beacon that is placed. I think this is a good place to stop the first episode of our beginner's guide to Tears of the Kingdom. There's a construct over there that we can fight as well. We've talked about so much stuff so far, and there's a long way to go to explaining everything in this game. But we got to go over cooking, both in a cook pot and without. We got to go over using the pad to place pins, using the map to orient, sprinting, stamina, combat, locking on, climbing, lots of the stuff, changing weapons, weapon durability that is important at the beginning of the game. But like I said, there's so much more to cover. I hope you're finding this guide to be useful and fun. If you have any questions about the game, please post those in the comments below. Next, we're going to keep progressing, and we're going to get into some of the puzzle solving and the mysteries of these Zonai and these Sky Realms as we go. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care.